Creepshow, one of the best and my personal favorite horror anthology of all time. Creepshow 2, less segments, but still a fun time and a worthy successor to the first film. Creepshow 3. Creepshow the series on Shudder. Oh my god, what a fantastic love letter to this franchise. 2 segments per episode, goopy gory monsters, Bob Ross beating the shit out of deadites. I am not making that up.
I don't know who you are, sir. But if you're not gonna behave, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
I love Creepshow. So when I found out that there was a comic book out there that spawned from the success of the Shudder show, I about shat myself to the moon and back. Creepshow itself was a love letter to the old EC horror comics of the 50s and 60s. More specifically, Tales from the Crypt and the Vault of Horror, so it's almost like it went full circle. So obviously I hopped on it as soon as I could, and it's great. With just one tiny problem. We'll get to that later, but first I have to gush. Now, much like the series this is based on, each issue of Creepshow is around 2 tales, each done by a different creative team. The first issue, for example, was done by Die 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 creator Chris Burnham, and the second tale was done by Paul Dini. You know, the creator of the Batman fucking animated series. I bought the first volume a little while ago, and I'm happy to report that, in true Creepshow fashion, these stories are as batshit insane as you expect them to be. A birthday mascot that devours all the children. A ghost that hunts down trick-or-treaters who disobey the Take One sign. A lucha mask that possesses its wrestler and forces them to go on a bloody rampage. All the tales are fitting for Creepshow, and I'm happy it sticks with the original roots of just being batshit insane. The artwork looks one-to-one with the bumpers in the Shudder show, where it'll start out with a page from a Creepshow issue and then transition to live action. It's also appropriately gut-turningly disgusting. We got blood, we got guts, we got goo, pus, slime, vomit, we got all the bodily fluids from A to Z, baby. So from how much I'm gushing about this comic right now, you'd assume that I like it. Well, no. I love it. It was a joy to read from cover to cover, and I can't wait to get my hands on Volume 2, which dropped about a month and a half ago. I love this comic. But that doesn't mean it's perfect. Yes, it's time to go over that foreshadowed glaring issue I mentioned before. I said it was a joy to read cover to cover, which it is. It's just not that long of a read. Volume 1 consists of 10 stories, which is appropriate for the show, since the show has about 6 episodes per season, which rounds to about 12 stories per season. Each tale is about 10 pages long, which is appropriate since that's about the average page length of a Tales from the Crypt tale. Up to this point, the comic follows the appropriate steps in terms of adapting Creepshow and paying homage to the comics that inspired it. So why is the pacing so out of whack? Why is it so much faster to read an issue of this than an issue of this? I think I have the answer. Here is a page from the first story in the series, Take One. 5 panels, 3 dialogue bubbles, 4 small description boxes, a little light, but still kind of average for a modern comic book. But let's compare that to a page from Tales from the Crypt Archive Volume 1. It is night and day. The size of the panels, the amount of dialogue in each box and bubble, the amount of text on this page alone would fill out an entire issue of Creepshow. Tales from the Crypt's description boxes are written in such a way that it's not like you're reading a story, but being told a story. I think that's the component that Creepshow is missing. The Creep, the horror host of Creepshow, isn't as much of a storyteller as the Crypt Keeper. Sometimes he comes in every now and then, but it's usually when the story starts and the story ends. It doesn't feel like he's telling you a story. If anything, he feels like that one friend that shows you indie horror videos on YouTube. I feel like if they had those description boxes and add text of the Creep talking to us personally as the reader, then we'd have that personal connection with the creep that would not only extend the read time, but also give us more of a engrossment in the gory gallery of tales. Again, I'm not bringing the book down by any means. This is a Creepshow book that feels like the Creepshow series, which feels like the Creepshow films. Creepshow, Creepshow, Creepshow. I loved my time with it, and I'm definitely going to read it again during travel or in a waiting room or hell, just for fun. I just couldn't help but feel that something was missing, a piece keeping it from being a complete image, and I think I might have figured out what that piece was. Overall, this book is fantastic, and if you're a fan of Creepshow like myself, it's definitely worth a pickup. That being said, thank you all for watching. I'm Kyle the Otaku, and now if you excuse me, I have some online shopping to do.